in this look, I didn't use any like foundation all over my face. You'll notice in the video I do use it to like carve out the top of the brow, so that's the only place I put foundation. I do use concealer underneath the eye, some liquid blush, I have a lip liner, lipstick, eyebrows are filled in, no eyeshadow, I just use bronzer and then it goes into the nose contour. And that's about it. So watch the video if you want to see how I did the look. And also, one thing I want to say is you don't have to put lashes. So if you put this with no lashes, it's actually like a really cute, like put on something right quick type of look. But me, I like lashes, so I put some on. But watch the video. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Just a little bit more. I like to put it on my forehead. One thing I do want to point out, when you use an oil like that, if you're gonna, we do our chest too. Okay, but if you use an oil like that, what you want to do is before you fill in your eyebrows, you want to wipe them off because you don't want the product to slide off your eyebrows. Alright, so there we go. So I'm gonna start with filling in the brows. So I'm gonna be using this brush and just like a black eyeshadow. So I'm gonna use this black eyeshadow down here. This is the new Persuasion palette from Live Beauty, in case you want to get the palette. Okay, so I take this end of the brush, but first I'm gonna brush up my eyebrow hairs. Alright, so once we do that, I'm actually gonna move this hair because it's kind of in the way. Well, if I can, do I have a clip or something? I don't think I do. Let me try this again. Okay, there we go. So, I'd like to take this end of the brush and dip it into the product. So I kind of dip it like this. I just rub it on the powder and I kind of press it down and go back and forth. So I'm going to try to lean in so you can see a little better. So I always start at the tail of the brow. So like right here. And then I drag it down. So that's about how it's gonna look. And then I'll go in with my finger and just make sure everything looks exactly how I want it to look. Okay, so that's about how it's gonna look. So remember, we're gonna go back in and sharpen it up with concealer. So now let's go ahead and do the other side. Alright, and that's about how it's gonna look. Okay, and then I go to the front of the brow and fill in really lightly. You almost want to just like tickle yourself with the brush. You don't really want to press down at all. Okay, and then we're gonna brush it out. Okay, and then I'm gonna fill in this one little spot right here. Alright, now that I have the brows how I want them, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with concealer. So for today, I'm gonna be using my Urban Decay concealer. Let me make sure this one is in the right shade, because I have two of them. I think it's the right shade. Okay, let's try to go on with it. Okay, I'm gonna just use a smaller mirror so I can look a little closer. And first I like to just roughly go in with this, and then I'll take a brush and go right up under the brow. Alright, so you want to use a brush sort of like this. So I'm going to wipe this one off because I actually used it yesterday. So it's got some product still on it, but we're going to wipe it off. Okay, so you're going to take it. You want to get it kind of flat. So you want to go like that. As you can see. Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to take our smaller mirror again. And we're going to go up under the eyebrow. Alright, so it's going to look like that. Alright, so now let's go to the other side. Okay, and then we're going to blend this down. Okay, and then we're going to go in with a bigger brush like this one. And we're just going to press everything in. Alright, so next we're going to go over the top of the brow. And we're going to use our foundation shades. I'm just going to use about 1 pump. Because this really isn't a foundation look. Because if I just wanted to get, like, I say get cute. But if I want to get cute right quick, I don't really put on foundation. I just use concealer. But I'm just going to use this foundation shade for the top of the brow. Just so we don't have halo brows when we're done. Okay? So you're going to take that. You're going to coat it on the brush. Alright, and then we're going to go over the top of the brow. Okay, and then you're going to go down, just tracing out the brow. Alright, now to the other side. Okay, it's going to look something like that. Then we're going to go in between the brows. Alright. Okay, so now this is going to be the really important part, at least for me. Because I like my eyebrows to be kind of sharp. So I got to go back in and kind of sharpen this one up a little more. Alright, so it should look something like that. So now that we're done with that part, I just leave the foundation for now. Like, I'll leave it where it's at. But in a couple of seconds, we're going to go over it with this brush to blend it out. So, but first I want to spray it. So I'm using the airbrush setting spray. Okay, because we don't want it to look like we have much of anything on. So we want to keep it nice and light. All right, there we go. So now we're going to go into our complexion. Well, really, it's going to be our under eyes and blush, because I don't do my whole face if it's just like an everyday type of look. Oh, got hair in my mouth. All right. So we're going to put on our e.l.f. Hydro Grip Primer. Alright, and I'm going to wipe some of this off, actually. Put a little too much. Alright, okay, yeah, I put too much, sorry. Okay, so now we're going to rub it in. I really like to focus underneath the eye, because my skin is dry. And I just want to make sure that my under eyes aren't going to be super creasy. So, for this part, I will take the concealer, and then I will go right up under the eye, like this. Alright, and then we're going to repeat it on the other side. And me personally, I like to use like a yellow toned concealer, but you don't have to. Just use one that's a little lighter just to brighten up the area. Okay, and then we're going to go in and press in that concealer. Remember, we're just stippling. Okay, and then I just like to go up the side of the nose. I don't really want it on the middle of my nose, so I just go up and down the side of the nose. You'll see why later when I put on the bronzer. Okay, so now that you look kind of crazy, okay, let's just be real. You're going to go in with a big fluffy brush. So I'm going to use this one. And you're going to just press everything in with that brush. And I will also subsequently put some of that concealer shade onto your nose, but not a lot, just a little. Okay. So now I'm going to go in with my Hoola Toasted Bronzer by Benefit. And I'm going to go ahead and use that as not only just my nose contour shade, I'm going to also be using that as my eyeshadow shade. But let me get my blending brush. 1 second. Okay, so you want a little brush like this. Okay. Okay, we're going to dip it in. And I always start on the eye when I'm doing my nose contour. So we're going to start in the crease of the eye. Go back and forth, back and forth. And then when you get towards the front of the brow, you want to go a lot higher. Yeah, like that. Okay, so, and then we're going to go down onto the nose. Okay, and don't be afraid of having a harsh line because we're going to blend it later. Okay, we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Go into the crease. Okay, make sure you go high up at the beginning. Alright, and then we're going to go straight down. Alright, and then we're going to go back in and sort of diffuse out the bronzer on our eye. Okay, and then we're going to go back in with this brush we used earlier. And we're just going to swipe down where it's over that part that we put the bronzer on. Okay, so you can see that diffused that stuff quite a bit. I mean, the bronzer, yeah, diffused it quite a bit. So then we're going to go over this harsh line that's right here. And we're just going to press it in with this same brush that I just used on the nose. Okay, so now that that's not looking so harsh, we're going to leave it like that. And I'm going to go back into the Nude Persuasion palette. Alright, and then we're going to take this sort of, it's like a mustardy brown, I would say. Let's see what it's called. Okay, it's called Pumpkin. So we're going to take Pumpkin onto that same brush we used before. And we're going to go over the edges. Just over the edges. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. Alright, now that it looks something like this, we're going to leave that. Alright, so now this is the part where we're going to do our powder, but I'm going to come back. This brush right here. And just stipple it in. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. So this is pretty much how I want it to look. Okay, and that's how the blush should be. Do something slight. Okay, now this is the part where we're going to go in with our powder. So I'm using the banana shade from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So you need to have one of these, okay? And you're going to press that into the powder. We're going to go under the eye. Okay, so you want to go under the eye and along the side of that nose contour that we put earlier. Okay. And you just want to really make sure you're pressing it in. And we're going to do our other side. Alright, so it's going to look something like that. Let me actually get my other nostril. Alright. So now we're going to move on to our eyes. So it's really up to you whether you want to do white or black eyeliner. But today's video, I'm going to do black because that's what I typically would do. So let me get that same brush I used earlier for the eyebrows. Oh, no, not the same brush. I don't see it. Is it right here? Okay, we can use this one. So it looks like this. So I'm going to wipe it first. I must have dropped it. Well, we're going to use this one. So we're going to take this. And actually, I think I'm changing my mind. I think I'm going to do white today. So we're going to use this white shade right here. Okay, and then we're going to go in our lower waterline. Okay, we're just going to press it in. Okay, so when you're done, it's going to look something like that. So we're going to do the other side. Okay, so now we're done. So we're going to go in with a mascara. So I have the mini and I have the full size. So I'm going to actually go in with the full size because I want the lashes to be kind of clumpy. If I can open it. Okay, there we go. Alright, and then we're going to... Now, I'm personally a big fan of bottom eyelashes, but if you're not, I would say if you're going to use white liner, you kind of need bottom eyelashes or you're going to look kind of crazy. Okay, we're just going to wiggle back and forth like that. And this is the Fan Fest Mascara by Benefit. Okay, now I'm going to go to the top lashes. And this isn't the only mascara that we're going to use. Because I really like to play up my lashes. Like, if I have on less makeup, I want to focus on the eyes. Okay, so that's enough for that mascara. So I'm going to close that. Alright, so now we're going to use our Milani Lash Extensions Tubing Mascara. So I'm pretty much using the same technique. The only difference with this one is I go like that. And then when I feel like I have enough of mascara coated on there, I go up to the bottom and I flick it upwards to make sure even the ends have mascara on it. Okay, and it's going to look something like that. Alright, so now we're going to go to the top lashes. Okay, so that's how it should look. So let's do the other side. Just like that. So That's how it's gonna look. So the next thing I want to do is to brush off this powder. Okay, so that's how it's gonna look. So now what I like to do is to go back in with that bronzer we used earlier from Benefit. And we're gonna take this brush and we're gonna go into the hollows of our cheeks. So we're not necessarily contouring, but we are bronzing. Okay, and then I like to put a little bit on the forehead. Be mindful if you have on a lace front like me, because you don't want your lace to look cakey. So be careful to go around your lace front. Okay, so we're gonna go in with lashes. So now, if you want to keep it really simple every day, you can stop here. But for me, I need a lash. So we're going in with lashes. So I'm going to use this pair. They're just some lashes I got from Amazon. I've actually worn these before. But they're so pretty. So we're going to put them on. Alright, so let's open up our glue. I'm using lace glue again. The Erica J Hold Me Down glue. Okay, now that we got that open, we're going to take the end of a brush and use that to put the glue onto the lashes. So I'm going to use this brush. Okay, we just want to get a good amount on there. And we're going to coat the lash. Okay, so we got one done. Let's do the other one. I'm going to try something a little different today. I'm going to try to put them on with tweezers. I don't usually do that. So I want to see if that helps or not. And I'll let y'all know if it makes a difference for me. Okay, and don't forget to wipe off your brush or it'll be sticky and it's going to stick to everything. Okay, so just try to wipe it off as much as you can. I always use this brush for the glue, so as you can see, it's still a little bit sticky, but it'll be alright. It won't get stuck to everything that's in my makeup kit, so we just want to wipe it off just enough. Alright, so now that we're waiting for the lashes to dry, I'm going to go in with my setting sprays. So to me, for an everyday makeup look, if you don't want to look super powdery, this is one of the most important steps. So we're going to go in with that airbrush Charlotte Tilbury setting spray again. Alright, and then we're going to go in with this one. I've been liking this one lately. It's the NYX, the Face Glue Setting Spray. So I really shake that one up. I feel like this one just, it kind of gives you that kind of wet look. That's why I think I like it. Okay, and then I have one more spray I go on with. So, I don't even know how to pronounce it. I think it's D'Alba. Okay, D'Alba. And it's the first serum spray. It's for hydrated and radiant skin. So to me, I like this one because it takes the powdery look away. Okay. So then I cover my eyes. And I just go all over. And also this smells so good. Like, I mean, it smells amazing. Like, I can't even describe it. It's like a perfume smell. Like a, it just smells good. Alright, so while we're waiting for the lashes to dry down some more, I'm actually going to go in and start on my lips. So I'm going to be using the Chestnut Liner from MAC. Okay, it's going to be something like that, but I'm going to go in with my smaller mirror. Let me use the one from the bronzer. So for the smaller mirror, just to make sure I have it lined exactly how I want it. Okay, and then that's how it's going to look. Alright, and I'm going to go in with the MAC lipstick called Yash. Alright, going to put that in the center. Okay, I need to look at that. Alright. And then I like to go over that with a gloss. So I'm going to use this one. It's the Broadway Ultra Lip Gold. So it has like gold sparkles in it. Okay, so it's going to look like that. Alright, and then our lashes should be... Well, no, they're still drying. Sometimes I go like this just to speed up the process. Okay, so I'm going to let them dry a little more because we want them to be tacky when we put them on. We don't want them to be still wet. Alright, so while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and close up my glue. Actually, I'll come back when I put the lashes on.